speak here? Okay. Thank you to the Mountain View High School Madrigals. You guys were wonderful. It's a great way to start off the evening. If you caught any of their performance before in the hall, it was amazing, and we always love having them here. And it's so nice to have some local talent here. I want to thank all of you for being here to support all of our LMV grads here. It's been an incredible program year, and it's been a real gift to be a part of that and be part of some of the program days and watch on the first day when people aren't really sure what to expect, and you know, as the class bonds and they get kind of the gist of what's going on, and you think you know what's going to happen at the next program day, but it's totally not what you expected. It's even better. That's what my experience was. And I've been on council for 3-4 years, and it just seems like it gets better every year. So I just want to thank all of you and congratulate you, and we appreciate all of the time that it takes, because it takes a considerable amount of time and dedication. And just want to welcome you as alums and hope to see you maybe join council and participate in all of our events. So I'm going to pass it on to Alicia. Thanks, everyone.
There's a weird thing right here. Hi. Good evening, everyone. My name is Alicia Crank, and I am the program director of this fabulous program called Leadership Mountain View. We are about to graduate our 23rd class, meaning 23 years this program has been around, and there are not a lot of cities in the Bay Area that can say that they've had a leadership program go for that long. So I'm very happy to be a part of this legacy of folks coming through the program, graduating, and coming back and serving it in such a powerful way. One of the things I would like to do is recognize our program sponsors. It's because of them that we can have 23 years under our belt with another 23 to come. Some of those sponsorships have been financial, some have been in kind, and everything in between. If you have your program, if you look in the very middle of the program, there is a list of 70 different people that the program members were able to interface with throughout the course of the program. And some of them are our sponsors. So I do want to recognize those sponsors, starting with Google. They came on last year as our program year sponsor, which was the first time we've had such a thing. And because of that, we were able to have 2 community members known as our Google sponsors, or Google Scholars, come through the program where Google picked up the tab for them to do that. So I do want to have those Google Scholars stand up. Now it would be Carol Isnard and Michael Cuffer. And both are employed in educational institutions of such. So again, it was very impactful to be able to have them come through the class. Our other sponsors for the program year included Pacific Gas and Electric, Synopsys, Microsoft, El Camino Hospital, Palo Alto Medical Foundation, the City of Mountain View, which also includes our police and fire, the Center of Performing Arts as well. And for food, because we ate well this year, we really did. Morocco's, Hobie's, Country Gourmet, and Tide House. And also our other community partners was KMVT and the school system, both Mountain View Westman School District and the high school district. So if you would take a moment to give a round of applause for them as well. And I will say this is my first time seeing a plethora of blue uniforms in the room on a positive note, so I'm very happy about that. I will serve as your MC for the duration of our program tonight. You're going to hear from several different people. Don't worry, we're going to try to get out of here by 8. As much as I want to share about how great the year was, I think the people that you're going to hear from will be able to firsthand tell you what their experiences have been, as well as what they've gotten out of the program, and hopefully what they want to do with what they learned after leaving the program tonight. But I will say, as I was getting ready tonight, I looked back at the day that we had, and I said it kind of reminds me of the program year. We started out today at the SMART station. And if you think about the very first program day, you're walking into an unsure situation. And you don't know what to expect. You know this is probably going to be a good thing, but you're uncomfortable. You don't know if you're dressed right. What are you going to see? And after we went through the SMART station, of course, there were some areas of discomfort and interesting aromas. But you were still happy at the end of it that you went through it because you got something out of it. And I really think that's what the first program day was like for the program members. You knew that you didn't know what to expect, but you kind of liked what you got at the end of it. So I'm going to come back. And at the end of the day today, I will say it was a love fest. There was a lot of nice words exchanged between the program members, and I think that's what this is like tonight. You've gone through this time and you've built relationships. But let's see if I'm right, because based on the guest speakers we have tonight and the class speakers who are going to represent this current class, I really want to be right about that. So with that, we will now hear from Vice Mayor John Inks, who will then be followed by Councilmember Laura Macias.
Well, thank you. It's very nice to be back here again. I remember when the council visited you one day last fall, and there's most of the names in here and a lot of the faces I recognize, so it's really good to see you again. When I prepared for this tonight, I wanted to find out a little bit about this class, what was so special. And you know, you've been through the familiar demonstrations and orientations with the city police department, but I also learned that you see some detective work, hands-on, that was not a demo, and some other aspects of law enforcement that were quite real. One other thing on a personal note I'll mention, you know, this course is a long program, and over time, those of you that are having families and starting families, congratulations to the new parent or parents and the soon-to-be parents in the class here. So I really enjoyed the experience meeting you last fall, because that's one of the few times the council talks kind of freely and openly in an unstructured format. And I certainly remember the questions that you asked and about what committees we like and you know, how our agendas are formed. Now, when you leave here, you know, there's a lot of opportunities. You probably heard about it, whether they're nonprofits, perhaps maybe pursuing a board or a commission, something else in the community. You may have heard this before, but pursue something that you like and that you can really commit yourself to. And specifically, if it is to a city position, the commission appointments are competitive. I wasn't appointed the first time or second time before I finally got an appointment. I wasn't elected the first time either, so it requires some determination. I think Alicia alluded to something like 70 sponsors. I think that you have heard about 70 different speakers in different areas over the term of the course. So in that regard, some of them may have been more long-winded than others, you know, but I will not be in that category. There are other speakers here, so I'll keep it brief and just wish you the warmest of congratulations, and to thank you in advance in however you serve the city of Mountain View. Congratulations.
Just realized how awkward this thing is from this side. So good evening. I'm Laura Macias. I'm here this evening for two reasons. I'm here to cajole you and to persuade you that you must take up leadership in Mountain View right now. And second reason, I'm here to lavishly congratulate you for enrolling, participating, and graduating from Leadership Mountain View. Now, when Alicia asked me to speak for Leadership Mountain View, I was thrilled. So I imagine this philosophical treatise delivered to you in an evening of reflection and thoughtful discourse. And it would be a time for deep questions and insightful answers and pondering prose, you know, kind of like a council meeting. But maybe with wine and cheese instead. And then I thought, well, wine and cheese, Katrina and Charles and Jeanette from Live Nation would surely like that, because the work they do is social events related. So that would be kind of fun. And then Ms. Alicia informed me that, Ms. Councilmember, Ms. Former Mayor, you have 6 minutes. So I'm going to be skipping all the reflection of my entire Leadership Mountain View career, which spans 20 years here, and get right to the point. And I'm pretty sure that Mike Kwan and Matthew and Saul will really appreciate that, because as city employees, they've probably heard part of that Laura Macias story before. But back to my request on leadership. We need you. The city of Mountain View needs you. You are not the future leader of tomorrow. You are the leader of Mountain View for right now. So Shannon and Deepika, it's your time now. What makes you the right leader for Mountain View for right now? One compound word that you've been doing in Leadership Mountain View. And that compound word is homework. Because you, dear graduates, have been doing the critical homework of what it takes to make Mountain View Mountain View. We know that Mountain View is the best city in California, a place, a state of mind, an attitude cited nationally as one of the best examples of suburban cities with our parks and development and people. We're pretty cool. Yet all those lovely sentiments really mean nothing unless you have done the due diligence of study, which you have done in Leadership Mountain View. Leadership is about being present, being informed, and being open. And that's what makes you ready to lead, ready to go all in. You have done your homework as a Leadership Mountain View student. With your learnings through each Leadership Day, you have been given special insight into the workings of the city and all the connections that make the city. The doors of leadership are open for you. And there's a need for urgent leaders. The rewards are many. The frustrations are maybe even more than many. But many of you have heard me say this about being in the city. It's the toughest job you'll ever love. It's totally worth it. Well, why should it be you? Well, why not? If not you, then who will lead the way? And all this great homework that you've done should not go to waste. Homework makes it possible for you to understand the layered issue of the city instead of a one-dimensional perspective. Oftentimes, the political issue seems simple. The problem isn't easy, yes or no, until that moment when you ask the deeper question. Literally think outside the box, whether that box is a building, a park, or a plan. Let's say you read the Mountain View Voice or Mountain View Patch, and you said, well, obviously the decision should be yes, and then you find to your horror that the decision by council was no. But as a Leadership Mountain View graduate, you know that the issues are not black and white, but many colors and dimensions. And of course, I know we have some professionals here in healthcare and law, like Dignant and William, and you already know that issues are complex. So here's the thing. If you wait to jump in, you may never get the chance. You may never get involved. You may wait till tomorrow, so don't. There's a quote that I like. It says, "Let him who would enjoy a good future waste none of his present." So don't waste your present. And I know that Elizabeth and Leslie, who deal with the fierce urgency of now all the time in their work as emergency caseworkers, you know that there's a call to action all the time. So let's not waste that present. Let's deal with the present, whether it's emergency or not. If you're a parent, if you can continue your involvement in school and site councils and parents groups and school boards, in Mountain View, I think there's at least 20 schools that would love your help. Please continue that and step up to leadership work. And of course, as John mentioned, as I believe my true civic love, city work, there's at least, I think, 4 leadership alums that have been elected to city council, so you can add to that list. City council is a real honor, and if you want my job sometime, and it'll be available in January, you can sign up for city commission work, and it really is, as a commissioner or committee member, the best way to learn the operations of the city. There's numerous commissions, as you know, and I encourage you to step up and belong. Now, if I were Queen of Mountain View, I have to admit I would have more citizen commissions, because I think it's a great way to learn. And I just will have to throw it in because I have the opportunity, that my 2 commissions that I would add would be an Historic Preservation Commission, because I think we need to preserve our neighborhoods, and those could be neighborhoods and buildings and trees. And then I would also add a Technology Commission, because I think we've got a lot of technology talent here within our residents and our companies, and I think we need more opportunities for residents to be involved. So please don't take your certificates and go home. We want to see more of you everywhere. And Bobby, it's time for you to get out of behind the camera and in front of the camera, and Sula out of the web and into the spotlight. Now it's time for my lavish congratulations to you. So it would have been, and this is what you could have done and you didn't. So it really could have been very easy for you to take the application and then, leave. But you didn't. You said, I'm going to go ahead and make the commitment. So that commitment to learning is so key. The commitment to learning is actually the commitment to our future. There's this really cool quote by Alvin Toffler who said, "The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn." Leadership Mountain View is about the process of learning, unlearning assumptions that you may now know no longer to be true, and relearning what you may have forgotten. And I think as educators in research, that Carol and Jamie and Michael can appreciate that sentiment. Okay, I'm sure okay. Oh, like a minute more. Okay. Another reason for lavish congratulations is your participation in the program. Your participation requires work. And Thomas Edison has this old-fashioned quote about work. He said, "Opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work." Now, it seems to me that our two Shelleys, EY and IES, and Malia have no problem with hard work, since that's what they do every day in their lives. So your participation, your hard work has made this program successful. When you engaged during the program, it made all the difference, not only in your experience, but also in the experience of your class and those that were presenting to you. So it's interesting, I've been consulting at Carnegie Mellon University, and they have this whole learning by doing pedagogy. And pedagogy, as you may know, or not, I didn't, is the method of learning. And so this learning by doing pedagogy is actually used sometimes within Leadership Mountain View, and that's when you're expected to do the projects. And to do that, that's how you learn. And it's learning by doing is not a new idea. Pablo Picasso said many years ago, "I'm always doing that which I cannot do in order that I may learn how to do it." So your participation in Leadership Mountain View hopefully stretched you a bit with experiential learning. And now, graduation is upon you. Congratulations, you are here, you showed up, and you are graduating. You move forward, and what I ask you to do is move forward with Mountain View. One last quote, which I really love, by Bill Clinton. "We should all of us, be filled with gratitude and humility for our present progress and prosperity. We should be filled with awe and joy at what lies over the horizon, and we should be filled with absolute determination to make the most of it."
I think the measure of how people perceive you is when they voluntarily do something for you. Earlier today, the class surprised me with a thank you gift. Several bottles of vino, which I was very happy about. So thank you. Then, as we were taking our class photo, they presented me with something else. As someone that's sometimes called sergeant during the program day, or I'm cracking the whip because I'm telling them to silence their cell phones, which you all should, by the way, because I heard somebody's phone go off. I wouldn't be me if I didn't say that. Oh, we know who that belongs to. So I was presented with a pretty pink whip, which I am not afraid to use if you get out of hand before we conclude tonight. Thank you, John. Thank you, Laura, for speaking to the class today. Before I call up our class speakers, one of the things I wanted to do was also give a special thanks to the families and the spouses and the employers of those who came through the class. We live in an economy in a valley where if you're not multitasking, you're not working. So to be able to allow your husband, your wife, your significant other, your employee to take one Friday to be physically out of the office, to technically be away, even though they're checking the iPhones and the Blackberries. But to allow them to do that for 9 consecutive months really speaks a lot. So thank you for giving them the time to be away and to be part of this program. So now you will hear from our class speakers. So obviously it's not an academic program, so there are no valedictorians. I couldn't grade them even though mentally I did. But the class was able to choose 2 people in the program that they felt could best represent them here at graduation tonight to talk about their experiences and hopefully not bash me too much. So we will first hear from Jeanette Minster from Live Nation, and then she will be followed by Shelley Wolf, from the Executive Director at KMVT.
Okay, so I first have to say, Laura said that there was an option to get the diploma and walk. Is that still available? I'm assuming not, but just thought I'd check before I start. First, I want to thank my fellow LMV classmates for actually electing me to do this today on behalf of our entire graduating class, which truly is an honor. I'd also like to thank everyone who has taken the time out, like Alicia said, to come from your busy day and make it out here tonight to join all of us. And I think I speak on behalf of our entire class when I say that Leadership Mountain View has been not only a learning experience, but also a growing experience for all of us. From the first program day, it was very clear. We were all leaders. One of our guest speakers that day, Sue Brenner, challenged us to work together in teams to accomplish a simple goal of moving a small plastic ball to an endpoint, using only plastic tubes. Sounds easy, not so easy. The ball represented a commodity, and we had a customer. I, of course, thought that I had the winning idea. Of course, right? If everyone would just do a few simple steps, we would have the exercise in the bag. Simple as that. Then about 2 seconds later, I also realized that about 5 other people had what they thought was the winning idea. There was a lot of, just do this, and if you would just move your arm this way, or tilt your head this way, or move your leg that way, it would just work perfectly. But what was really happening was very eye-opening. I was indeed surrounded by leaders. It's not often that we are put in situations where we are surrounded with a group of strong personalities, all with the intent to lead. Often there are those that lead and those that follow. During the exercise, there was a shift in our new group. It happened when we all realized, a little too late, that we completely neglected the whole point of the exercise. The goal wasn't to collect as many balls in the bucket as we could. It was to satisfy our imaginary customer. It was in that moment I knew I had learned something about myself that would be one of my biggest takeaways from the whole experience. I learned the importance of a clear message and unifying goal, and without that, leadership is not effective. The exercise allowed me to not only think about my own leadership style, but also how to make myself more effective. And on a less serious note, I also learned quite a few things about the people who make Mountain View the diverse and wonderful city that it is. Yes, I'm talking about you guys. We all know the job market is tough, really, really tough, right? But I have a lot of classmates who, of course, possess hidden talents other than leadership. So if anybody in the room is hiring for any of the following positions, you can just let Alicia know later in the evening at the reception while you're enjoying your bundt cakes. Let's see. So, for example, Sula, lovely Sula. Oh, Sula. We love you, but you know, the whole class knew that you really meant business on Public Safety Day, and I mean business. I knew that, I know there are not a lot of openings in the Mountain View Fire Department, but if anybody needs to know how to use a fire hose, a taser gun, a beanbag gun, or a fire extinguisher, she is definitely your girl. Also, Police Officer Matt Ken does amazing accents. That's all I'm going to say on that one. But he would be happy to do one for you at the reception, and I'm sure that he would make a quite valuable comedian for hire. Also, let's see, we have Michael. Michael is very inquisitive, very, very inquisitive. He loves to ask questions. A career in interrogation could pan out quite well for you. That's all I'll say. Let's see, Saul. He didn't want me to pick on him, but I just already had it out in my brain. He's really good at keeping secrets, you know, working with the FBI and everything. I don't know if you could hear that, FBI. Okay, so ladies, if you need somebody to just listen to you, you know, listen to your problems, be a good shoulder to cry on, he won't say a word, and that's rare, right? Really rare. So that's your guy. And, you know, while I'm at it, Shelly, can you put in a good word for me with the building inspection department in San Jose? Because I'm looking to buy a house, and I could really use that, you know, just that little connection. Anyway, sorry, I digress. So now, being serious again, after this day, we will no longer meet one Friday a month promptly in the morning at 7:45 in the morning. Some of us will stay in touch. Some will be busy with new additions to their families. We have 2 people in our class that are new parents or soon-to-be parents. And others have probably met a friend or 2 that they will have forever. I know I surely have. This week, I attended the Professional Business Women Conference of California, actually just this last Monday, and I kind of took something away from it. I got to hear Laura Liswood, who is the Secretary General of Women World Leaders, speak, and she reminded me that leadership comes in many forms. When I think about leadership, I often think about change. Change starts with the unthinkable, moves to the impossible, and then ends with the inevitable. In the beginning, it is dared by few, then is willed by a group, and finally willed by all. Though each of our journeys in this program has been unique, we all share a common experience. The experience will make us better members of our communities, places of work, families, and social circles. After today, I will be proud to call myself a graduate of the class of Leadership Mountain View 2012. Thank you.
Hello all. I didn't prepare a speech as Jeanette did. She did a fabulous job, and I'm honored to be up here speaking to you guys today as part of Leadership Mountain View. I actually saw this plastic thing down here and thought I'd make the joke that we're in New Orleans and we're going to play spoons on our calypso music tonight. But we're not going to do that. We're going to talk about leadership and how exciting of a year it's been in the last 9 months. 9 months ago, I moved to this community and didn't know what to expect. Alicia actually is my boss at KMVT, and she said, "You're going to come to LMB and learn about leadership." Okay. And I said, well, you know, I'm kind of a manager already. I don't know what that means, you know. But at the same time, I walked into the first class and said, what is leadership? And I think every day I still wonder what leadership is, because I don't consider myself a leader. I consider myself a manager and a person who is here to provide advice and guidance and just experiences that I can share that I've been through. And so as I do that every day, I stand by quotes that I've lived by my whole life. And I think about John Lennon, or I think about Eleanor Roosevelt, who all looked at a world of imagining, thinking outside the box, challenging yourself. And I think as we all walked into our first day of class, it was an amazing experience, because I remember, as Jeanette shared, we were here trying to pass a ball around and wonder, like, you know, are we going to get all the balls in the end of the bucket or not? And, you know, like she said, we all missed the goal. I stand by customer service 100%, and I even missed the goal. So what was I doing there? And I learned a lot that day. But I also learned a lot because they passed around a deck of cards, and we all got to pick from a box of Zen cards, and I remembered I'm going to pull Bobby out on this one, and Bobby, I think, had the word Zen, if I remember correctly, and I ended up picking a word that I knew, but it still said something different than what it meant to me personally. And as I stand here today, and we went through the class, and everybody says that, you know, hey, we want you to be class speaker. I didn't know what that meant, because for me, I speak from the heart. I love what I do every day. It's not a job. I'm here to educate people about public education and television and freedom of speech and human rights. And I got to walk into a classroom where everybody does that. Everybody's part of that. And today was a great example of what that is. We got to give our presentations. Our presentations were focusing on this community and what it means to us. And whether it's from children to diseases to environmental issues, we got to focus on what was important to this community. And this community is evolving every day. I lived here in the 90s, and I moved back now. And to see what the community is, and to be part of it, and to be part of LMV, and to stand here today and go, I'm part of this experience, and now I can be part of this community, I understand what Leadership Mountain View is all about, and I can't talk enough about what it has done for me just in 9 months to be part of this community and to go to the fire station and be part of that experience, or to go on a police ride and understand what moments are like when it's like at risk, or someone in the community may not have food, or someone doesn't know where to go for hospital help. We have an entire class here that represents that, and I'd actually like to take a moment and ask our entire class to stand up and be proud of yourselves for what you guys have accomplished and helping me accomplish stepping outside of my box. So please take a moment and stand up. This is the class. So I could not have done what I do every day, nor could I be standing here in front of you without everybody in this class. Just as I tell my staff every day, what I did in the LMV is all about you guys. You guys challenged me. You guys made me step outside my box and step outside boundaries that I didn't know I had. So, which reminds me to go back to a quote that I always stand by Eleanor Roosevelt, that says, "You gain strength, courage, confidence with every experience in which you really step to look fear in the face. You must do the thing that you think you cannot do every day." And that's by Eleanor Roosevelt. And I take that very pridefully, because it's one of the things we talked about today. A lot of times, what is leadership? You look at leadership as a person that may be standing in a suit or may hold a high-powered position. It's not about that. Today, we are all leaders, every one of us that's in this room, and we're building tomorrow's leaders. So thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for the excitement to be part of this community and to be a graduate of LMV. And thank you, classmates. I look forward to these wonderful friendships we've all made. Thank you.
I need a tissue. When I came on as director 3 years ago now, 3 years, huh? Someone asked me, what kind of leadership is Leadership Mountain View? And I said, it's civic leadership, because you're showing people these various parts of Mountain View, from business to health and human services to public safety to education. And so you're showing them all these various areas of the city, how they work independently and how they work together. And now you're going to be prepared to do something with that. And it was true. But then, as people began, still come through the class, everyone was already a leader, as one of the program members mentioned. You've already done the 7 highly effective habits, and you know the steps of this and the ways to do that. And so now you're like, what am I going to learn differently? And is there going to be a Myers-Briggs? Please, we don't do those. And I said, what is different about this? And what was important to me? Because I don't see myself as a leader. People were telling me that I was. And what I felt was important, that every person, including myself, on every given year will continue to learn from, is interpersonal leadership. That means taking what you've already learned in a book, in a class, in a seminar, but they don't teach you how to effectively apply it when you get back into the office. How do you put it back into your work group? How do you put it back in your family? How do you put it back in your parent-teacher organization? And so that's one of the guiding principles that I tried to implement within this program. And I think you've heard the result of that tonight already. It's about how do we work together, that even though we know how to do certain things, and I was blown away by some of the presentations the class did today, and I can't wait to share them with the alumni, because there are truly some great legacy programs that were done. But what was so unique about it was the fact that there are things that we miss as leaders today that we're all guilty of, that can really change the perception of how people see you in a group setting. It's hard to give a serious presentation when everyone's looking down at their cell phone. It's hard to really take a speaker seriously if they're not prepared, if the material that they give you isn't spell checked or isn't the right information in the first place. I think there are things that we can easily overlook, just those kind of interesting commonalities that we take for granted because we're so focused on having these steps and processes that within the class this year, and again, that's why I cracked the whip, is that when you can also do small things like just paying attention when someone's talking, to really being thoughtful and having great feedback questions and answers when you've been given the information. That speaks volumes, not only for the person doing it, but for those who are listening to you. So my charge to the group and to those in the audience is, as you continue to do your jobs and do your service, remember those things. Remember those common little everyday things that make you feel appreciated when you're doing something, and making sure that you're doing that to those who are talking to you. So with that, it's time for diplomas and proclamations. So my 6 people who will be handing out certificates tonight, including our vice mayor. Again, the class got to see and speak with, on an interpersonal level, 70 different business, community, political leaders, including for the first time, our county DA, Jeff Rosen, who is a Mountain View resident. And again, I call Mountain View the biggest little city in California, because we are small. We're 12.1 square miles, 12. But we have global reach. We have global companies within miles of each other, even if a mile. And to have representatives from those companies, including the sponsors that I mentioned earlier, come out and take time. And these are decision makers, not the entry-level folks. The people that you can actually give an idea to, and they can say, yeah, I think we can try to do that. Or no, and this is why. Or why don't we work together and see how we can make this happen? That's pretty impactful, and there's not a lot of organizations, leadership or otherwise, that can say that they have that resume, that reputation. And it all comes from interpersonal leadership. It's really all about relationships. So please make sure to harness your relationships that you've made today, throughout the course of the 9 months, and going forward. Because guess what? When I'm planning next year, I'm calling you and you and you and telling me, what element do I need to add to this particular day? I know that you have a specialty in this. Now it's time for you to come back and present and be that person that's on the list next year. The graduates will receive certificates not only from LMV. Let me look over here. We also have U.S. Congresswoman Anna Eshu's office, State Senator Joe Simidian's office, Assemblymember Paul Fong's office, Supervisor Liz Nissa's office, and the City of Mountain View. So as I call up each person's name, please come up, and we will start from John Inks around, but come say hi to me first. Katrina Apalato from the Chamber of Commerce, Mountain View. We work together, so I'll see her later. Sula Bloor, Mocha 5. See, I was going to tell them what to do and try to sit in alphabetical order, but I let it go. I can loosen up the whip every once in a while. Shannon Casey. Community organizer extraordinaire. DeGant Dave, El Camino Hospital. Deepika, I'm gonna butcher your last name. I'm so sorry. Good, sorry. Thank you, darling. I'm sorry. I practiced it all day and just. But see, a good leader will admit that they didn't do it right and not try to fake it. Charles Hall, Hotel Levante. Detroit. He's been hating on me because I'm from Detroit, but that's okay. Leslie Iglesias from Community Services Agency. Carol Esnard, Mountain View Los Altos High School District. Saul Yeager, Mountain View Police Department. Remember what Jeanette said, ladies. Seriously. Matt Ken, Mountain View Police Department. The only guy that likes to call my name out when he's on shift and through the bullhorn and embarrass me in downtown Mountain View. I love it. It's not profiling at all. Michael Kupfer, San Jose State University Research Foundation. And as of Wednesday, a new father. So he will be jetting out of here as soon as we're done. William Lambert, attorney. Congratulations. Elizabeth Medina, Community Services Agency. That's a model walk. I don't know what you're doing. Jeanette Minster, Live Nation. Malia Pyers, consultant. If anyone gained weight during the program, it was her fault. She just left from being the catering manager at Country Gourmet, and she catered most of our lunches and breakfasts for the program. You're excellent. Mike Kwan, Mountain View Fire Department. Jamie Saxena, Mountain View Westman School District. +1. We got 2 Shelleys. Sorry. Shelley Wolf, KMVT. My hiring her was not part of her having to come through LMV. I just wanted to clarify that. How did I miss you, Bobby? How did that happen? I'm so sorry. Bobby Chastain. Actually, that was his punishment for never doing the feedback forms. So there is public humiliation behind it. And last but not least, Shelley Woodworth, City of Mountain View. So sorry, presenters, that I messed you up with Bobby. Got to make sure they're awake. So these are my last comments before I turn it back over to Leanne. But once again, I just want to say congratulations to the class of 2012. Thanks for making the last 9 months pretty eventful and headachy a little bit. But you have all taught me something each program day, and I really hope you believe that. I always tell the program members as I'm interviewing them and as they come in that I will never plan a program day that I won't sit through, and I held fast to that. But when you do have 20 leaders in a room with very strong personalities, you're destined to learn something whether you want to or not. But I thank you because now I know I have 20 new friends that I can reach out to, not just for work and free labor, because I will do that, but also because I care, and you guys care back, and it's been really great getting to know all of you. So with that, I'll hand it back over to our council chair, Leanne Riffs.
I always love this evening. It is so positive, and I don't know how you could sit through this and not want to go through Leadership Mountain View if you haven't already, so we'll expect to see all of you. Thank you to all of you who make Leadership Mountain View what it is, and thank you, Alicia, for continuing to just put your best foot forward all the time. And best isn't good enough. You always strive for more, so thank you for all of your hard work, and it is greatly appreciated. Congratulations, class. She's amazing. So let's all go downstairs and have some champagne and drinks, and there's some cheese and desserts and everything. So thank you, all of you.